You can miss out on some pretty big unlocks in Assassin's Creed Shadows if you don't make the right choices or decide to skip the side content. Got a ton of new info and some footage I've not shown you before. So one big new addition you can miss out on are allies that you can summon with a simple command. And cool thing is that they all have their own unique animal whistle sound when you call them.
This will be
You might already know about Yaya, who goes headfirst into battle, takes aggro and then just punches away at enemies, going from one target to the next. She stays for 1 minute, which is often the whole duration of the encounter, but will then be on a cooldown for 10 minutes, so you gotta be smart when you deploy her. Yagoro works different. He's a stealth ally, so can only be summoned when you are not in conflict, and this is basically a free kill, as he will show up on a nearby roof, or often I did not even see him, but the enemy I marked would still drop dead on the floor. So for a stealth Yasuke playstyle, you can mark one target for Yagoro and then take out the other target with your bow for a cool sync kill to remain unnoticed. This was very satisfying. You can upgrade these allies 2 times for in-game money. In the case of Yaya, she will then immediately make an entrance and knock an enemy out after you summon her, which is a very fun sight. Fully upgrading her gives her the ability to kick enemies too, while Yagoro gets a chain assassination on upgrade level 2 and with the max upgrade can insta-kill bigger health enemies, which could be a huge cheat because the cooldown on him is only 5 minutes instead of 10. And yes, as you can see, he has a pretty cool upgraded look. And now the allies also have different outfits that you can give them, but I wasn't able to try that out yet. Now there are 6 allies in total. We know that the third one is Genoyo, played by Netflix One Piece actor Makenyu, but the thing with these companions is that if you make the wrong choices, they will not join you. So you will meet most of them on the main path, but there are also some that can only be found by exploring the open world. So kind of like Odyssey, where characters, after doing like missions for them, would become lieutenants at the end. So in Shadows this can happen too, but instead they are like way more fleshed out companions. So while some will join you almost immediately, not much can go wrong, there are a few allies with many side missions where if you make the wrong choices during those quests, they will not join your roster. Which is kind of huge because again there are only 6 of these allies and they are very strong. You can also romance some of the allies, but only with one of the 2 protagonists. I saw headlines recently saying that Assassin's Creed Shadows players won't be missing out if they largely ignore one protagonist, but the more I learn about the game, the more that seems untrue. We of course know that Yasuke is unable to reach certain viewpoints or complete certain locations, and now I learned that if you only play, for example, Naue and interact with an ally or other NPC that is a romance option for Yasuke, you will probably not know that because the dialogue option will never show up. So you can easily miss out on romances if you don't switch character. And real quick, I'm doing a giveaway for 3 copies of Shadows. Simply like the video, subscribe to the channel, and they can participate via the link in the pinned comment. We already know that the world map of Assassin's Creed Shadows is around the same size as Origins, but now I learned more about a lot of the activities you can do and the vendors you can find. One of them is a dedicated cosmetic shop where you can buy things for your hideout, but also saddles for your mount, as we see in footage from French YouTuber Sneer. So both Naue and Yasuke have their own horse, kind of like Phobos in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and you can outfit that horse with different saddles that alter their look. Especially Yasuke has some very cool samurai style horse armors that will also match with some of the armor sets he can wear, so should be a cool combination. But there are also other colored horses you can buy or earn and then mix and match with the saddles, so there are way more possibilities compared to the previous games. Now worth noting though is that it's only cosmetic this time. You cannot train your mounts like in Valhalla. Actually from the start of the game your horse will behave like a maxed out mount in Valhalla, so can immediately swim. So that is great, but when you pick up a different horse or steal one from a random NPC, you will not have these benefits, so also cannot swim, worth keeping in mind. And of course, Ubisoft will once again go crazy with the Helix Store mounts. We know that the Sekiryu Beast is one you get with the Deluxe Edition, and there's also this mount that we saw in the Animus Hub. they do not have saddles, so armor won't work on those mounts, which makes them overall a bit less exciting. But yeah, they should have all the benefits from your regular horses. Now, I said you can also earn saddles and horses, and one way to do that is through these special archery challenges you can exclusively do with Yasuke. There are 2 character exclusive open world activities, so this horse riding one where you automatically ride and have to aim and hit the targets with your bow, and Yasuke also has something called a kata. Here you see a button prompt that you have to hold or press to perform, I think, a combo you can actually do in combat as well. Complete all 3 and you completed the activity and got a knowledge point. And as you might know, these are needed to unlock extra lines in the skill tree. So while you cannot really miss these, it will be smart to do the open world activities every time you see them, and also complete every location you enter for a main story quest, because otherwise it will impact the amount of skills you can unlock for your character. And in that skill menu, you will see how much knowledge points you still need for the next skill line. And next to knowledge points, we of course have mastery points. And you unlock these by leveling up or taking out strong special enemies. And these points are needed to unlock the individual skills. So again, this is horse racing, this is the kata. Then we see the 2 Naue exclusive activities. Fun fact, when Naue goes to a kata, she will, by the way, say this.
A touch master. He might be one of the teachers that Yasuke is looking for.
So then you know, okay, this is an activity that I can only do with Yasuke, so I should switch character. We can probably expect something similar when Yasuke goes to one of Naue's hidden trails that require parkour and platforming to complete, and she has a meditation minigame with gameplay kind of similar to the kata from Yasuke, only more rhythm based, and at one point the buttons like disappear, so you have to remember them and keep going. But more interesting is that by doing the meditation minigames, you also trigger flashbacks for Naue. So without spoiling anything, the tutorial of the game leaves a lot out. It's not like in Valhalla where you start by controlling a really young Eivor, or Origins where you sometimes go 1 year back in time and see Bayek with Camus. Now in Shadows, these flashbacks are linked to open world activities, so if you skip the side content, you can miss out on some context for the background of both characters. I think some parts of the story trailer where we see Yasuke train and get shamed by the other samurai is, for example, one of the flashbacks we can probably experience by doing the kata activities. And these are not just cutscenes, by the way, but also playable, and they should include some cool scenarios. So to round it out, this is a temple location where you, for example, have to find multiple lost pages that are hidden in the area. Use the observe mechanic to look for these white glows and then go and reach them to get the knowledge point. You also have a shrine where you have to pay respect in a couple of spots for the knowledge point. And worth noting is that both these locations can totally be in non-restricted areas as well. Now the final one is still unknown to me though. Looks like a door or statue. Your theories are more than welcome. There were actually statues in the open world you could interact with for some XP, but not for the knowledge point. But more interesting are the things that I like to call buff stations, but are actually shrine blessings that give you a temporary damage or health buff that you can see under your health. And they last for like 20 to 30 minutes, so a really long time. And when you switch character, you lose the buff, but if you then switch back to the character who had the buff, you will still have it active. So pretty nice new addition, although I of course want to test how good they are, and got way more Shadows content coming your way, so subscribe to not miss anything. A like on the video would really help me out, and check out our previous video on some perks, gear, and way more Shadows info by clicking on the screen. I will speak to you next time. Goodbye!